Binghamton has not suffered a single loss in conference play this year. 15 points on the season, 4 wins, 3 draws. A victory tonight would give them their second straight regular season crown. NJIT is in the home white, and Binghamton is in the traveling black with the white letters and numbers green accent. And we thank you for being with us here at Lubetkin Field at Mal Simon Stadium. Got a good crowd in the house as well. Last time Binghamton was on this field, it was 2 seasons ago. As you take a look at our officiating crew tonight, Mike DeFelice is the head referee standing in the middle there. David Bork and Manny Terrani with the flags on the sides. But it was last time that the Bearcats were here. And also last year up in Binghamton, both games were won by the Bearcats in the last minute of those games. The one 2 seasons ago, Ralph, was in double overtime.
And I think NJIT, because of how veteran of a team Ali Nick has, I am sure they have been reminded of that as if they needed to. But I wonder if there's going to be a little bit of an extra edge to this NJIT team, knowing that Binghamton has been the team. Essentially, they've been the most consistent program the last 4 or 5 years in the America East. For NJIT to crack the top 4, this team's goal has been to get to the top 4. They need to show they can beat a team like this in Binghamton. This year they have a chance to host them, and a chance, as a result of a win here, they would get a chance to play another home game here on their very home field in a playoff quarterfinal.
You can see the results and what this tonight could mean for both of these teams. Binghamton can finish no lower than the 2 seed, meaning they won't have to play in the quarterfinals. They will host one of the winners of the quarterfinal round in the semifinals, and it'll be up in Binghamton. And for NJIT, again, they can finish in the top 4, which would get them a home quarterfinal date next week. But they can also fall to as low as the bottom seed, the 6th seed. It all depends on what happens with this match, as well as the others around the America East tonight. Right now, just getting underway, UMass Lowell is at Bryant, and Vermont is at UAlbany. We will keep you up to date on the scores relative to, of course, what the scores mean for these 2 teams as we go along this evening. Again, on the final day of the regular season for NJIT, making the America East tournament once again. 3rd straight season they have been in the conference postseason. And a lot of postseason berths over the course of Ali Nick's tenure. They're hoping that they can make a late push, which is something they certainly did last year, before losing to Maine in that quarterfinal round. Caitlin Williams, the goalkeeper for the Bearcats, wearing green as the Binghamton bench looks on. Williams made 3 saves in a 2-2 draw against Maine last time out for the Bearcats. Fell behind 2-0 in the first half, actually in the first 19 minutes, on a pair of set-piece goals, but then rallied back to tie it and did earn a point as a result and remained unbeaten in conference play.
Yeah, and I gathered from Neil Bhattacharjee that he liked the way his team played in that game, but nevertheless they gave up the 3rd minute set piece, so they're already behind it, and then gave up a goal on a penalty in the 18th minute before having to rally back. So probably a good character test for his Binghamton team, just like tonight is, to see, because they're taking on an NJIT team that really wants to beat them bad, or at least get their first point in program history against them. So either way, for Binghamton, they have so much to play for, to be the #1 overall seed and win another regular season championship, but also to take on a team that I think should play with a very high level. And can Binghamton match that tonight on the road?
Zandrioli, the reigning America East Offensive Player of the Week, following a brace against Vermont last weekend, wins NJIT's first corner of the match. Andrioli, 6 goals, 3 assists this season now, and she is 3rd in the America East in points, tied for 3rd in goals as a result of that 2-goal performance up in Burlington. This is Molly McClellan getting the start. Number 5 in black for Binghamton, lays it on back for Garofalo. And Williams will reverse the field over to her left for Herber. America East All-Rookie last season, a sophomore out of St. James, New York. Most of Binghamton's starting lineup hails from the Empire State, and a good deal of them from that region near Binghamton. Paige Luke. This ball eventually comes to Victoria McKnight. A little bit gimpy following that touch in the middle of the field. On Something that we could see tonight is a pretty physical match, all things considered. NJIT likes to play a very physical style, and for Binghamton, they've also played that way at times this season. Yeah, they're trying to get the edge there on Bitar, and Bitar was able to stay strong in the back.
They've had some very high foul games against their better competition. Maryland, Syracuse, Seton Hall. Neil Bhattacharjee has gone out once again this year, as he did last year, and in the last 5 years of playing some quality non-conference teams. Cornell as well, near the top of the Ivy League to get themselves ready for the America East and their dream to make the NCAA tournament, so that they're not shocked by whatever team that they would face in an NCAA first round. He wants to expose his team to that level of competition during the regular season, in addition to get them ready to win the league. And they've had some high foul games in those that really kind of jump off the page a little bit. And but it was the first time that they really got hurt by set pieces, as Williams handles here. It was really the first time they got hurt by set pieces this year, last time out against Maine. So for the most part, they had dodged those bullets, but they'll need to, again, curb that and avoid that, because NJIT has shown, with Riley Jones in particular, with her quality on set pieces and restarts.
And Neil Bhattacharjee in our conversation before the game said we're usually smarter than that, as McClellan looks like she might have the step on Madison Tybal, gets possession in the area, now forced back out to the wing. And then the ball given away to Caroline Caputo for NJIT. Ramos goes long and can't connect with the teammate there.
And another aspect, I think that has been lost recently with the pretty good success in seasons the two teams have had. Caitlin Williams, last game, 7 saves that she had to make. Rather, it was 2 games ago against Vermont. And then the terrific performance by Samantha Constantine of NJIT, where Constantine, NJIT has had, I think, the possession edge in most of their games in America East. She had to come up with 9 saves on Saturday for Allie Nick, by far a career high, in a grind-out NJIT 3-2 win on the road, where they got some terrific goals. 2 of their 3 goals were outstanding. But Constantine really had to step up, as did Caitlin Williams. And for the most part this year, when you look at their save ledgers, they have not been under fire the way they were. And I think that bodes well for both teams into the America East tournament, to show that both of their goalies can carry the mail more than relative to the other keeper.
Yeah, when all else fails, it helps to have somebody in the net mouth who can get the job done. And both of these keepers have certainly done that recently as we wind down the regular season. Ball is out of play and into campus, and the Bearcats will have it. Binghamton has played in 2 of the last 3 America East title matches, losing both of them. 1-0 to Stony Brook in that abbreviated spring 2021 season, and then last year it was a 4-4 tie in regulation in the overtime sessions before the Wildcats emerged victorious on penalty kicks, denying the regular season champion Bearcats the tournament title as well, and the NCAA tournament berth that they craved. Garofalo, the New Jersey native, likely with family and friends in attendance, I would think, from Aberdeen, New Jersey, played at Mattawan High School down the shore.
Yeah, what a player she is. Just seeing her up close on the field. Listed 5'9", just kind of the way she moves. Played for PDA, ECNL level, Elite Clubs, National League, the highest level of club in the United States, and for PDA, along with Match Fit, probably the 2 most Division I littered rosters of all the club teams, and she was even 2 years ago named All Conference in one of those. So a major pickup for this Binghamton program, and she was a plug and play, immediate starter at center back, and clearly is going to be a 4-year starter. I was impressed watching her move as kind of the, a next level player in the America East that could play in conferences well above the America East.
There's a nifty takeaway by Riley Jones in the middle of the field. Tried to pick up Caputo. It's cleared back toward midfield by Williams. And this Binghamton team is largely intact from last season. Of course, the one big asterisk to that is last year's America East Striker of the Year, Maya Anand. 12 goals is hard to replace, but Neil Bhattacharjee has kind of done it with several different players, kind of like Billy Bean in the movie Moneyball. We recreate him in the aggregate, is what they said about those players of the Oakland A's, and that's kind of what Binghamton has done. 5 players with 3 or more goals this season to replace the 12-goal scorer.
Yeah, although on one hand, last year when you have Amaya Anand, 12 goals, 4 assists, they scored 44 goals last year that ended in the conference tournament final. This year, they're only at 21. Now, perhaps slightly harder schedule this year.
Caputo long range with the left foot. That had some mustard on it. And Williams was able to make a sure-handed grab.
Oh, well, this is Caitlin Williams here on the road. First of all, what a strike here from Caputo. But then watch Williams having to know where she is, because sometimes if you're not familiar with your settings, you might carry yourself into the goal, and then if you don't know where your post is, you might jar it free from yourself. It lands across the goal line at your feet. I've seen that happen before at the high school level, but that is a well-trained keeper that clearly was paying attention in the warm-ups before the game and not dilly-dallying.
Speaking of the high school level, Williams 3-time All-State at Clinton High School before coming to Binghamton.
Yep, and as well as varsity basketball, that's where the multi-sport athlete really helps itself. When you might be a star in soccer, but you've got to play a role in basketball and go rebound and handle physicality, that's what you really like.
Vigoda with that left foot gets her way up into the attacking part of the formation. They try to cross it with McClelland, and it rolls out off NJIT.
That's an example of, for the first time we saw Lexi Vigoda. That's the left back, the modern professional outside back, the left back that you'll see that's become such an offensive weapon, especially in the EPL on the men's side, at the World Cup FIFA level. Look at how far Vigoda got and dropping the ball off for a cross. She got to within 24 yards of goal from her left back spot, and she's also a threat to shoot from there and service with her left foot.
And she's done a little bit of everything ever since the high school level, where she was primarily a forward. She's been a left back, she's been a center back, she's been a holding mid as a left-footed player, and last year, 4 goals, 3 assists, first team All-America East, and was an every match starter. This year, 4 goals and 4 assists. Her 12 total points lead Binghamton. Merla Hoysa on the restart. Deflects toward the top of the area, cleared by Garofalo. And this is Vigoda, evading the challenge from Jones, keeping possession. Finds Olivia McKnight. She and her sister Victoria have been mainstays for Binghamton the last few years in that midfield position. Yep,
twin sisters that because Victoria got hurt as a true freshman in 2019, the two sisters, they had to wait 2 years to play together in college after going to Vestal High School, which is a big high school power in basically all sports in Binghamton. And now coming back to play their 5th years together.
This is Luke looking for McKnight. This is Olivia McKnight, bangs into Zalat. And it's a clearance out by NJIT, but we take a look at that run by McKnight, and Zalat just kind of standing in the way. Not a foul per se. It's going to be a throw-in for Binghamton, but one of the first opportunities into the box for the Bearcats tonight.
Yeah, the official, I think, warning the NJIT players for delay of game prior to the throw. But watching both McKnights on film, they're both very physical midfielders that play through contact well. And pretty good with the ball at their feet. Olivia in particular loves to shoot from anywhere outside the 18 and can finish. Olivia brings a ton of intangibles, covers ground defensively. The two of them are not super speedy from those spots, but especially in those November playoff games where the wind is howling, they are both kind of determined to get to goal from their midfield spots. I think that they play with a certain edge that it takes to win in the month of November, especially when it's cold and windy. We wouldn't know anything about that tonight because it's like 75 degrees and spectacular.
Certainly not. This is certainly, it doesn't feel like a late October game. There have been certainly years here in northern New Jersey where a day like today would be very windy and probably in the 50s and really raw out there, maybe with some precipitation as well. This is kind of ideal conditions for this match. Weather won't really affect this one at all. Not a lot of wind at all, and as you mentioned, the 70-degree temperatures at the opening kickoff. Perhaps at some point fall will arrive here in Newark, but it hasn't fully arrived just yet. It's kind of almost coming through, but only for a couple of days at a time.
Yeah, basically Sunday, I think, is when the fall officially is here and then not looking back. And that's why I see Binghamton, I think, is well built for the fall. Nice ball ahead. They're sent through by Molly McClelland. That will find Samantha Constantine. But that's why I think Binghamton is well built because of the McKnight sisters and kind of their ability to play good ball possession, and they can both shoot from just outside the box to score. And then Vagoda at left back with services, quality services off of corner kicks and from left back crosses. That's a team that's well built to win in November.
Victoria McKnight out wide for Vagoda, serves one into the area and rolls on through, past a couple of black jerseys. Olivia wears number 3, Victoria number 12. So in case you want to keep a close eye on the McKnight sisters, this is Paige Luke, first-year forward, also from New York State. Runs into a couple of white uniforms. And it is Tybal who is able to get the ball out off of Luke, and so it will be Constantine's ball. For Paige Luke, her sister Madison plays at Bryant, so a little bit of a sibling rivalry carrying over into the college ranks. Saw Madison Luke and the Bulldogs here a couple weeks ago. NJIT recorded a big 1-0 win in that one.
Yeah, it's important for NJIT to start to get some possession. They have not been able to get forward, even get their outside backs with the ball to midfield yet. Andreoli hasn't been on the run yet. Maybe just Kelsey Ramos. Right now, their lone opportunity has been Caroline Caputo, and Binghamton has been extremely comfortable here into the 17th minute. NJIT has got to find a way next time they get the ball or win a ball to lay it down and start to do some work on their own.
Hoysa under pressure. A little bit of a shove there from Victoria McKnight, and we got a foul called on Binghamton, much to the delight of the crowd.
Yeah, this is what I mean by the physicality of the McKnight sisters and the fouling we've seen from Binghamton this year. Look, that's just, I think that's just playing hard. There's nothing dirty about it. It's just she's going in to finish the tackle. Just like when you finish a box out in other sports, and you finish off a run like a football running back.
Finish a check in the sport of hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Williams gets the return feed. Pretty good pressure there for NJIT, and that causes Binghamton to give it away into the bench.
Yeah, this is important here for NJIT to take a breath and then connect a couple of passes and see if they can get a switch. They have yet to do that.
Caputo tries to turn the corner, and she'll get another throw-in, even though she could not get possession. Minute number 19, no score. Last regular season match for both NJIT and Binghamton. Bearcats are assured of a top 2 seed. A win would give them the regular season crown outright. They could also get it with a tie or a loss, provided they had some help. Caputo with a nice spin. And a sharp angle shot. Williams was right there.
Yeah, Caputo almost pulls off the Maradona there right before the end line. Fantastic. If she was able to maybe pop up a cross, because Williams was already, look how deep Williams ended up. If she's able to pop up a cross right to the 6, it could have caused even more havoc.
This ball gets through the last line of defense in Pape. Chased down by Grace Vittoria, the right back, joining the offensive rush, and it results in a Binghamton goal. Bearcats are on the board first tonight. Let's take a look at this replay. Great cross. At the last second, it was McClelland who got the start tonight, who scores the goal. It's her first goal and first points of the season.
Fantastic cross by Grace Vittoria. Vittoria adjusting to a new position. 2 years ago, she was a starting center back on a very good Binghamton team that lost the America East tournament. Misses all of last year with an injury, comes back, moves to right back, and delivers a nice cross right from the end line in stride to hit Molly McClelland. Simple touch. McClelland did not try to stop it and then hit it on the second touch. She knew the simpler play there is just redirect it, use Victoria's power of the cross to her benefit. Beautiful goal, capping off what Binghamton's been able to do, which is largely be very comfortable on the ball.
Hey, this time she plays it away. That pass, of course, got through the NJIT back line. Not something we see a lot. But for McClelland, it's her second career goal as well. And you also heard down below, Binghamton's got quite a few fans here today. NJIT finds themselves down a goal at home. The Highlanders have only lost one match at home this season. It was to Maine, 2-0 at the start of the month of October. Ball into the 6, and smothering it there is Constantine. We'll see if the Highlanders can come back now. Vittoria on the assist. That is her 5th point of the season, all of which have come in the last 5 games.
Yeah, that tells me that she's gotten very comfortable with probably delivering crosses in the dangerous areas as a right back. Even though you're on the backfield, the outside backs play a greater role moving forward, especially with crosses, than a center back does. So it's certainly a different position for Grace Vittoria.
Caputo trying to fight through traffic there, couldn't find the seam. And back the other way we go. Binghamton on the attack. That lead ball deflected. It'll roll all the way out of bounds. Couple NJIT subs, Bailey Chant, Alicia Deschmuck get set to check in. We mentioned Vigoda in the open, the left back for Binghamton, who's really done what Vittoria just did all season long. And now Binghamton's doing it with both of their outside backs. As America East tournament time approaches, this will be NJIT ball once again. Makes the Bearcats a lot more dangerous.
Yeah, it does as the Highlanders go to the bench, and that tells me that is now more assist, by the way, for Vittoria than Vigoda, which I think is a fascinating number. If you were to tell Neil Bhattacharjee before the season if that would have been possible, and he probably would have said that's very unlikely because of the quality of service that Vigoda has and because Vigoda piles up points from handling restarts and corners.
Chant and Deschmuck indeed come in, numbers 19 and 8 in white respectively, and Bailey Chant, in fact, looks like she's going to play one of those attacking midfield spots. Both teams are going with identical formations today. The midfielder's kind of in a box in the center, double holding look. We mentioned before the game off of the broadcast, it was kind of more of a defensive formation than both are usually playing. For NJIT, they like to kind of twist around that box into a diamond in the middle. But the two holding midfielder look for both teams makes it a matchup of formations that are the same. And right now, Binghamton has kind of gotten the better of NJIT. They've not allowed many chances with those two, with that one additional holder down low. Andreoli trying to get up, could not because of the defense of Garofalo, and we finally got a foul on the Bearcats as we take a look at the replay.
Yeah, Andreoli sells this very well. Garofalo, she can't believe it because basically Andreoli fell in front of her and Garofalo tried to go through her.
You saw the two hands up there. She didn't want to, she tried not to signal to the referee that she wasn't trying to foul. A set piece for the Highlanders. From the left side, it's Riley Jones. Rattles around a bit. Touch toward the 6. Chant trying to twist one, and it's an offsides, in fact, before Chant could get possession. It'll belong to Caitlin Williams and Binghamton.
Well, right now, Binghamton has been extremely comfortable on the ball moving forward as they play it short in this case. NJIT still, they need to find a way to get the ball on the ground. They missed the opportunity there with Jones, but they've got to find a way to get the ball on the ground, connect a couple of passes. They have not made Binghamton play maybe a minute of defense in this entire first half.
Strong defense there for NJIT on the right side of the formation. And we've got a Bearcat, in fact, that's down behind the play after the fact. Trying to get a look at that's Victoria McKnight down on the turf right now. And the clock is stopped at 21:01 as Allie Nick tries to direct her team to perhaps do exactly what you just said, Ralph, to try to get possession and keep the ball a little bit more than they've been doing.
Yeah, I think Allie Nick is asking or telling Maddie Tybel there that, look, she just won the ball defensively, and perhaps there was something available further over the top rather than putting the ball where she laid the ball ahead. I forgot to whichever teammate it was, basically where there was almost no chance to build off of that. I think Allie Nick was asking to play the ball quick over the top and try to get some transition. As for Victoria and McKnight,
she's walking off mostly, I think, under her own power. Certainly a tweak of some sort as she makes her way off the pitch, helped out by her head coach and the trainer. Bearcats will have to sub. And they bring in Lauren Clark, sophomore from Manlius, New York. 4 goals on the season for Clark. As we mentioned, this Binghamton attack has been multifaceted.
Yeah, that tells me Clark is primarily a forward. That tells me they might switch out of the box 4 in the middle to a 4-3-3. So we'll see how they adjust and line up. But nevertheless, Binghamton, here's where they're very dangerous. This is well within Vagoda's range to put the ball just outside the 6 to cause havoc on a restart.
They go to the senior out of Plainview, New York. NJIT got their head on that one, protecting the center of the field. And the Bearcats will throw in once again. If we were to look at the stat sheet, I would estimate Binghamton has had probably 70% of the possession in the first 25 minutes. And of course they have the initial goal as well. This is Luke. Looking further forward, Hoyza is able to wall off the second forward there for Constantine to scoop it up.
And Jason, I'll add to that for NJIT, that 30%, if it's that high, it might be as low as 20. That 20% has not been a controlled 20% or so of possession, where they have not made Binghamton chase the ball at all side to side. And one of NJIT's strengths has been the ability to stretch fields. Andrioli either starting or off the bench, and then Kelsey Ramos getting up and down a flank and allowing Caputo also to service them from the middle. None of that has happened. And also Andrioli and Ramos are players that play with such a great edge, and they raise the level of the Highlanders because of how hard they play and how much pressure they put you under. Binghamton has taken those 2 players out of the game because the Bearcats have had the ball so much.
Deschmach looks for a teammate, Caputo, looking for Ramos. Gets the ball crossed off of a defender there. Calling is able to clear it only as far as Jones. Deschmach again on the volley, has it deflected right back to her. And now Andrioli trying to use that speed. Good job by Garofalo to snuff that crossing attempt out and then clear.
Yeah, Garofalo, from what I watched here, is going to be an All-America East player multiple times, 3 if not 4 years.
Emma Bitar, last line of defense there, is able to keep the ball away from Clark. Again, just recapping what's at stake here for Binghamton. If this lead holds, they'll be the regular season champions here in the America East for the 2nd consecutive year. If NJIT is able to come back, it's possible that the Highlanders with a win and some help, could get a home quarterfinal match finishing in either the 3 or 4 spots. A loss will drop them to, at the very highest, the 5 seed, which would send them on the road next week in the America East quarterfinals. It all depends on what happens here tonight, as well as with Bryant and UMass Lowell. And right now it's scoreless up in Rhode Island. That is in the 30th minute as Binghamton brings the substitute on. This is Samaya Reed out of South Floral Park, New York, checking in for Luke.
Yeah, also will kind of play a center forward role in a 4-3-3, and she also brings a lot of kind of face-up game.
Some contact there, and Hoysa and Clark go down out of bounds. I think the Binghamton fans wanted a foul there.
And I think Binghamton is comfortable playing at a physical game like this, and NJIT is not backing down. So this is absolutely getting the two teams ready for November.
Reed trying to settle, and fouled there. Mike DeFelice calling that from behind the play.
Yeah, DeFelice, I think, is saying that Reed had position and was displaced. She, where the defender pushed her off the spot as Reed was trying to seal off and be the target player.
Another lengthy set piece for the Bearcats, but they've been able to get this ball pretty far forward. Big right leg for Garofalo there, and over everyone's head. Jason Garrett, Ralph Benarchik with you on ESPN Plus. As Maria Noguera checks in for Ramos, she is a primary forward for NJIT, either starting or coming off the bench. 2 goals on the season. Sophomore out of Portugal. Will take Ramos' spot this time.
Yeah, Noguera so skillful, particularly with crosses. But I think a frustrating first half for Kelsey Ramos. I'm imagining when she comes back in, if it's this first half or especially the second, she's going to look to get herself much more involved and probably have to do more in the press defensively to get the ball back, because she's just not getting services over the top from the back 4 to spring her free the way NJIT has been accustomed to all year. And that's the quandary right now for Ali Nick. Arguably my biggest threats have not been anywhere close to doing any kind of damage. And same for Andrioli. There has not been one run Andrioli's had. She's had service somewhere in the air in her area twice, neither of which where she was able to even turn and face and use her speed, her greatest asset.
That'll certainly be part of the conversation at halftime, you would think, how to get the goal scorers into a position to score goals. For Ramos, she has 4 goals on the season. Andrioli leads the Highlanders with 6. Those two collectively account for 40% of NJIT's total. Here is Noguera on a cross and bounces into the arms of Williams.
Yeah, and that's where Maria, again, we saw 5 minutes ago, Ali Nick talking to Madison Tybalt, getting the ball ahead. That's where Noguera could have showed patience and get Tybalt, your right back, by sliding the ball back 20 yards into the play. Instead, it was just simply a very innocent and not threatening at all cross towards goal.
Olivia McKnight does that exact thing to Vittoria. Those two play a 2-woman passing game. Reed almost had the ball come right to her feet.
Now, how nice was that? A wonderful combination between the twin McKnights as they motored ahead. And we're seeing in this first half why Binghamton was the preseason favorite coming into the America East. And I think that for the most part, even though it is just 1-0 as they play the ball out, calling behind Vagoda, but I think for Neil Bhattacharjee, I think he's very satisfied with the way they're playing, but yet it is only 1-0. But they have played extremely well.
They look for Reed once again, and Hoysa, who's been busy here in the first half, able to clear it away, but a foul called on NJIT, perhaps behind where the ball was.
And this is another dangerous spot because you're probably going to have to deal with Vagoda, I would think.
And they will. Number 7, who we highlighted again in the open, first team All-America East last season with 4 goals and 3 assists. She has 1 more point, 1 more assist than she had last year in 2023. There's a lower line drive and off of Andreoli and out. Olivia McKnight trying to chase it down, and it is deflected last by Binghamton. McKnight can't believe it. Always interesting when those types of touches happen. Who is it off last? As Binghamton will bring Davia Rossi from Schenectady, New York, into the ball game, and for NJIT, Michaela O'Fallon will give Andreoli likely the rest of this first half on the bench.
Michaela O'Fallon in the game, number 6 behind Andreoli.
And I think for Allie Nick, it's hands on hips because she hasn't seen this season, where this deep into a game, Ramos and Andreoli, basically no shots between them, and barely anything you could even claim as a threatening play. And she's got to figure out a way, how can her team start to win some balls in the middle of the field, be a little bit more disruptive, and then see if they could find something with a counter, because it might be like this all night. And the chance for NJIT might be via restarts or versus the quick counter. That could be the way that they get offense tonight.
Well, you know, Ralph, you look at this stat sheet and there's almost nothing on it. There are 2 shots for NJIT, both on goal, both by Caputo, and only 1 shot for Binghamton that happened to go in the net. The possession is where it feels like Binghamton has had a much bigger edge in this match so far, as Bailey Chant's attempt, possibly intended for goal, ends up deflecting to the right and out. Good defense once again by the Bearcats on the back line. Noguera got her foot on that one. Deschmuck volleys it to the feet of Caputo. Back to Deschmuck, long range and too wide. But nevertheless, something toward goal for NJIT here in the waning stages of the first half.
And NJIT's best scoring chances have been from well beyond the box, essentially, with the Caputo earlier chance, which is from straight on 35 yards out that Williams made a nice play on. Otherwise, NJIT has been on their heels to try to do exactly this. Can they force a mistake? And they get one
there.
here.
Yeah, they get the ball out off of Williams.
Yeah, when you're being outplayed, you have to find a way to be a disruptor. And this is the way to do it. You've got to increase your intensity, your relentlessness, and finish on every run and every time the other team is playing and passing the ball around. You've got to run through it, because you never know when a poor touch happens, and that's your window of opportunity.
Well, you've got the fresh legs off the bench trying to do just that with Chant and O'Fallon on the left side. You've got Noguera on the right side. The substitution pattern for NJIT indicates to us that that's exactly what Allie Nick wants her team to do. This is Rossi, and she gives the ball away to O'Fallon. O'Fallon tried to get it back to Bailey Chant, though, just could not get the touch on it that she wanted. Chant always relentless, able to get possession. Tybal toward Noguera, good step up by Vagoda, and then she's held and fouled by Noguera. Binghamton with a 1-0 lead, 19th minute goal by Molly McClelland, who's elevated to the starting role today by Neil Bhattacharjee, and obviously that looks like a genius move. Grace Vittoria on the assist on her 19th minute goal, which is the score right now, 1-0 in favor of Binghamton. Calling under pressure from Deschmuck, forced to play it back to Williams. Bailey Chant continuing to make Williams think on her feet, so to speak. And again, the ball given away, this time further up the field, but NJIT will have it. Pape looking to settle. ends up playing it out for a Binghamton throw-in.
Yeah, NJIT has, when they've won seemingly the second ball, they have not been able to lay it down flat and play it to an open player. They have just been kicking it for the sake of kicking it somewhere, and that has also gone into their incredible imbalance in possession against them.
This is Reed trying to turn the corner. Oh, she, with a burst of speed, gets around Bitar. The shot goes wide to the right, with Samaya Reed turning on the afterburners there.
Yeah,
just
physical
running right
play
around the defender.
Look, very physical play. Samaya Reed, sophomore from Floral Park on the board of Queens in Nassau County. She looks ready to contribute. When she provides a little bit more speed, I think, than Paige Luke. She probably had one more step in her and then could have used the left foot and to try to curve it hard near post and to challenge Constantine.
Rossi keeps it low for Reed. Into the middle, open with space is Marsteller. Haven't called her name a lot in this match tonight. No way forward for Reed. Back it goes to Garofalo.
Yeah, nice layoff there. She was in trouble. Lay it back. Let's continue to dominate possession and try elsewhere. And that's not a bad idea there to try to, by calling to spring Vagoda. Look at how open Vagoda was on the back door. Just the ball got away from her. But that is nice interplay by Binghamton. They attacked, probed, played it back, and tried something else.
Now here's Noguera with some space. Cuts it back toward the middle, and Calling is able to provide support. And all it would take for NJIT is a moment of brilliance to even up this match. They're only down by 1. Winless all-time against Binghamton, 0-5 the last 2 years as Tybal is shoved away. No call on that as Tybal remains down on the field, and now finally we've got a stoppage by our lead referee, Mike DeFelice. Let's take a look at this replay real quick.
Yeah, this is Lauren Clark. Tybal is already in a bit of a compromised position, but the call is not made because they're both shoulder to shoulder. Tybal's already in the air, off balance, so it looks worse than it is.
Yeah, I think the crowd might have been reacting to the arm out there, which they could see from their vantage point, which is the same as ours here on the near side. But as we were talking about, Binghamton is 5-0 all-time against NJIT. The last 2 seasons, the Bearcats have scored in the last minute of the game. Double overtime here 2 years ago, and then when overtime was eliminated in college soccer in the 90th and final minute last season up in Binghamton. Both times that game-winning goal was scored by New Jersey native Peyton Gilmore, and she was first-team All-America East last season, but has missed most of this year due to injury. So if Binghamton wants to win it again in the final minute, they're going to have to get it from somewhere else.
Yeah, that's a huge loss. Gilmore also got hurt at the tail end of October 2021, and that kind of essentially shortchanged Binghamton's season. Otherwise, they might have won the America East regular season and league title that year, if not for Gilmore, a very talented player from South Jersey that Binghamton has been without. If they had a healthy Gilmore, this would be a team at a different level.
Caputo toward the middle, over the head of Noguera there. Approaching halftime here on ESPN Plus. Coming up at the break, we'll have the stats and the highlights, as well as an interview with head coach Ali Nick before the teams hit the locker room. And WNBC sportscaster, the legendary Bruce Beck, will have NJIT baseball head coach Robbie McClellan talking about the new digs for NJIT baseball in Montclair at Montclair State University, a partnership between the Red Hawks and the Highlanders. Both their baseball teams will call Yogi Berra Stadium home this coming spring. And that's all coming up in mere moments here on ESPN Plus. It is Michaela Balio, the newest Highlander into the match. She's seen a lot of action off the bench this season for NJIT. Balio removes Caputo from the match, and Caputo has probably been the most valuable Highlander with both of NJIT's shots on goal in this first half. Highlanders once again can't retain possession on the throw-in. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what Ali Nick says about these first 45 minutes. Williams under a bit of pressure. Boots it high in the air, only as far as Deschmuck. Highlanders trying to get possession here. A couple players hit the deck. Bailey Chant on the header, might have wanted to return it to O'Fallon, but just off on the execution there. Clark puts pressure on Hoyza, and she boots it into the crowd. Well, Coach Nick is not one to sugarcoat things. There have been some good things that NJIT has done, mainly limiting Binghamton to just 2 total shots. However, one of those shots ended up in the back of the net off of a defensive mistake. McClellan scored that goal under pressure here from NJIT. Ball deflects back toward midfield. Calling toward Herber. Garofalo couldn't get the ball forward to Rossi. Once again, the good pressure there from NJIT. That was O'Fallon. Marsteller into space. Riley Jones fighting hard for the Highlanders. Calling over the top. Nobody in the area. And that will eventually roll out. On the throw, Madison Tybel.
There is 1 minute remaining in the period.
Quiet first 45 minutes for her. And then the loose ball, able to chip it forward is Clark. Olivia McKnight trying to get the space, and she touched it last. Hoyza now has to chase it down for NJIT, and that looked like it went off of Clark and out. Officiating crew agrees.
Ten, 9.
Toward the middle,
8,
only seconds remain.
7, 6.
Garofalo
4, 3, 2.
trying to head it forward, and that will
0.
end the first half. So
Binghamton's comfort, I think, for Neil Bhattacharjee, I think he knows, look, it is only 1-0, and they have to follow that up, because I'm expecting NJIT here to come up and play with tremendous edge, and I am sure Ali Nick challenged her team at the half, particularly on their home field. And when you take into account that the Highlanders veterans have basically had points ripped away from them the last 2 years, overtime loss, double overtime loss 2 years ago, 90th minute goal allowed last year. Otherwise, these NJIT players have never beaten or taken a point from this Binghamton team. And I'm sure she reminded them of that.
And this will be the first corner kick of the entire match. And this is where Alexi Vagoda, who the Bearcat we highlighted in the open, can be so dangerous with that left foot. Right along the mouth of the goal, it's loose. Somebody's trying to get on it for Binghamton, and finally it's NJIT. It looks like Riley Jones or maybe Hoyza who cleared that away. Now another service by Vagoda, and that one deflected up into the net and out into Lock Street as well for another corner. So right away we see Vagoda looking to double that lead.
Yeah, you saw the example of Vagoda's quality service. Not just that it was precision, but the nice loft on the ball, where basically the ball could have landed off of one bounce into the goal.
This one off of an NJIT head. Back out wide for Vagoda. This one with a right foot. And only Andrioli is there for NJIT. Highlanders going with Andrioli, Ramos, and Reifschneider up front alongside Bailey Chant. Chant has been a starter for much of this season for the Highlanders. She's been coming off the bench as of late. Number 19, you can see right there on the left side of your screens. So this is more of a conventional NJIT formation. Deschmuck, who came in off the bench just like Chant in the first half, also gets the start here in the second. And now here's Andreoli in space for really the first time all night. She's got Ramos up ahead at the top of the penalty area. Could not get the power on it. Deflects toward Williams, who makes an easy stop.
And Jason, let's mark that in the 48th minute was the first time in the entire game that Brianna Andreoli was able to get the ball somewhere in the vicinity where she can go get it and dribble and pose a threat. That's how in control Binghamton was in the entire first half.
Well, if NJIT continues that, that's a good sign for the Highlanders that they were able to take what their coach said at the half and then apply it onto the field. This is Pape looking for Andreoli once again. Now Reifschneider from the middle, out wide on the left. And gets the throw in for NJIT. Corbin Reifschneider, a big forward at 5'11" from North Carolina. Has had some injuries in her career, but started off with a bang. 2 career goals, both in her first career match. And she has also been an every match starter recently for the Highlanders, who try to get control. Here's Ramos with a shot. And for Williams, she didn't even have to kneel down and stop that with her hands. She just did it with her feet.
Yeah, that tells me how confident Caitlin Williams is feeling tonight. She did not appear like a goalie that had the goal line was 2 feet behind her and did not even consider bending down and picking it up. That's how sure of the ball at her feet she was.
Now Vagoda for Paige Luke. She was subbed out in the first half. Back out to start the second. Vagoda with that left foot. Bitar able to read it well and head it away. Andreoli forced back by Vittoria. Pape looks for Reifschneider. Ball deflects out toward Herber. Back for Williams. Here comes Bailey Chant rushing in. One thing about Chant that's been apparent from the instant she stepped on campus, Ralph, she goes after the ball and often does so with a heck of a lot of speed. Talking about the pressure Binghamton has put on NJIT tonight, Bailey Chant's that type of player for the Highlanders. Ramos trying to stay on sides, and unfortunately she cannot. And that'll give Williams the ball back.
And the other aspect for NJIT in possession, yeah, they are a team that loves to counter quickly when Ramos and Andreoli are both on the field, as we see Neil Bhattacharjee. But NJIT has not one time really switched the ball. Get the ball side to side, play through a midfielder, and then bam, pop it outside and try the weak side of the field.
Luke stepped into by Bitar. Now McClellan, the goal scorer. One-on-one with the senior center back for NJIT. Into the center, Hoyza. Good job to stay strong and able to get it out of the area, but the Highlanders can't clear it. Vagoda on the throw-in. That's Hannah Mimas, who has just checked in to start the second half, and they look back post. And just wide on the touch, it looked like Luke was there, and Vagoda once again on that cross net service.
Yeah, very dangerous cross. Check this out. On the move. And that's right where you want it to be. What a dangerous spot that Vagoda puts the ball in. Remember, her earlier corner was very good. And again, on windy days where the ball is causing havoc on defenders, she provides an X factor for Binghamton in November when the weather is bad.
Taylor Pape was right there for NJIT, but that was such close quarters that it could have gone in off Pape, perhaps. Hoyza once again trying to keep it away from Clark. Those two have battled throughout the first half of this match. And Hoyza able to do a nice job to wall off the Binghamton forward. Hoyza from Rheinstadt in Germany. First year a Highlander, has been a starter every match but senior day when she gave way to one of the upperclassmen. For the near side, Bailey Chance looking for Ramos. Vagoda was there initially. Ramos able to keep it with NJIT, and that ball just over the head of Andreoli, forcing Williams to make a play.
Yeah, very good thought from Corbin Reifschneider, realizing she knew she had Andreoli about to make the run middle of the field, and NJIT was looking for the quick strike.
Well, now here is an intercept by Reifschneider, and the initial touch by Ramos there, a little too strong. Helping out is Riley Jones. She shoots from long range, and right at the keeper Williams. Once again, that short two-handed stop. Officially, NJIT now with 4 shots on goal, 4 saves for Williams. High in the air toward Clark off Vagoda, forcing Hoyza to play it out.
I love it. He's a tactician.
And we have a stoppage here. Mike DeFelice blowing the whistle and stopping play. Riley Jones is, I think, a little bit shaken up. Perhaps that's why play was stopped. But Jones now back in the action.
Yeah, I think he was checking for a potential head injury for Riley Jones and made sure that she was okay. She never went down to the field, but because there was a possibility of a head injury and he had a chance because the ball was out, he blew the whistle and then checked on Jones.
Better safe than sorry in that situation. Back out to the corner, Vagoda, as Tybal touch it out. Alexi Vagoda, they've said her name a lot since halftime. A lot of possession for the experienced left back, now looking to get the service once again. That bounces high in the air, and Constantine needed all of her wingspan to be able to snare that one away.
Yeah, she's a difference maker. Number one, there's just not that many left-footed players available. And then you need someone that is good enough to have that service from that area that can shoot the ball across, either on goal or for assists, with some kind of precision from 35 yards out. There are very few of those kinds of players. Then they need to be athletic enough where they can play outside back against very good players coming at them. So all of a sudden, that pool of players that can do what Lexi Vagoda does is very small.
I wonder how many left-footed players there are as opposed to left-handed athletes. Wonder if there's a correlation there.
You know, I'm sure someone's done a study. And we might need an overtime to go ahead and research it.
Andreoli looking to get the step, and that one is off of Binghamton and out. So a corner kick for NJIT for the first time in this match.
And NJIT has to take these to heart. Even though there's a lot of time left, you clearly have not been getting a lot of possessions. You need to value these and attack the ball with a sense of urgency. You might not get more than another corner the rest of the night. It's your first one.
NJIT has scored a lot of goals this way this season. Madison Tybal, in fact, the last home match, scored the only goal of the match on a header off of a corner kick. And now Tybal twists one into the area. Ramos off the back of her head, far post, and Williams, sensing danger, and rightfully so, is able to dive on it. Pretty nice job by Tybal to turn the corner, and then Ramos just trying to get it into the vicinity of goal. And you saw Andreoli lurking there. If there was any bobble, she would have been on it. Now Bailey Chant on an intercept, looks for a pass through traffic. Ramos trying to jump on it. And now Vagoda once again, calmly, tries to find a teammate up ahead in Mimas. Ball given away once again. Here's Reifschneider. Her crossing attempt is denied, and then we've got a foul on Binghamton. So a sustained run here for NJIT in their attacking end, really for the first time we've seen tonight.
Yeah, the field has absolutely now leveled out. You know, we've given it a good 12 minutes to see how the second half has materialized. NJIT has definitely evened up the game where they've been able to pin Binghamton in deep with their higher pressure a little bit more, get some crosses in.
Riley Jones from outside the area. It pinballs around, Toward goal by Hoyza, knocked down by the traffic, and then cleared by Vagoda. 1-0 Binghamton. Goal in the 19th minute in the first half by Molly McClelland, assisted by Grace Vittoria. For McClelland, her first goal of the season. For Vittoria, her 5th point in the last 5 games for Binghamton. And that's the only score on the board so far. Binghamton looking to hold the lead and get their 2nd straight regular season title, which would come with a 1 seed and home field advantage throughout the America East playoffs with it. NJIT, if they drop this match, they will be either the 5 or the 6 seed, depending on what happens with Bryant. And it is still scoreless for the Bulldogs and the UMass Lowell Riverhawks in Rhode Island. We'll keep you posted. If that score holds, then NJIT would get the 5 seed and face whoever finished 4th in the standings, which at the moment would be UMass Lowell. Jason Garrett, Ralph Benarchik with you here on a Thursday evening in Newark. Mimas fell down, regained her balance. Vagoda has that ball deflected. Up in the air off Bitar, but toward goal, punched by Constantine. NJIT finally clears it away, but Vagoda is able to get on it again. To the strong left foot with a bending shot, and Constantine sure-handed.
Very nice job early, well before this, as we see the shot here by Vagoda. She's confident in shooting clearly from 30 yards, as we've already said numerous times talking about her. But Emma Bitar earlier denying a clean cross from Vagoda was important. She got a deflection on it, even though the deflection was 30 yards out, but she prevented it from being, I would say, causing major chaos. Sometimes defenders might just kind of take that cross for granted. Bitar got out there and, like in basketball, contested the cross, and that prevented what could have been a much greater scoring chance for Binghamton.
Well, before that ball was played out by Bitar, that entire possession was started by Vagoda, doing exactly what you said Bitar just did, denying a pass for NJIT. Now Mimas with some space, and that left-footed cross only finds the gloves of Constantine. Once again, Binghamton working this left side of the formation. When you have Lexi Vagoda, you want to get it to her as often as possible, but we've seen a couple different players try to service into the box from that area. Back the other way for NJIT. A lead pass for Reifschneider, trying to catch up and cannot get the angle on it.
And ironically, as Binghamton's going to make a couple subs, but I thought they were super effective down the right side with Grace Vittoria. Remember, it was Vittoria that got the assist, and she had another pretty good cross earlier, so here they've been heavy on the left side.
It is Mimas and Clark out, and Reed back in along with Hannah Knitsch, junior, transfer from Pittsburgh a couple seasons back. They come in for the Bearcats. For Knitsch, her first action of this match. Reed had her chances in that first half. Coming off Neil Bhattacharjee bench. Heavy contact there with Riley Jones. No call, just a clean play. Now here is Vagoda under pressure from Jones. To Marsteller. Binghamton trying to settle it. Luke out wide for Vittoria. Back toward the center. Luke turns to her left. Now back to her right, and here's Vittoria getting behind the defense. Gets a cross away, deflected out for NJIT, but it will be a Binghamton corner, and Vittoria again on that right side.
And what a ball by Paige Luke. Calm feet of Paige Luke, checking back, never panicked, and had a good feel for where her right back was.
Highlanders look like they're going to bring Caroline Caputo back in at the next chance. This is going to be Vagoda from the opposite side. So this could be an in-swinging ball with that left foot. And it is indeed an in-swinging ball. Andreoli able to get to it first, and we've actually got a foul called on Binghamton anyway.
Yeah, that's great work by a forward, your leading scorer, to go into the dirty areas and win a head ball. That shows me what Brianna Andreoli is about.
She does that offensively too. Wanting the ball to go the opposite direction this time around, and now under pressure is Marsteller, has to lay it back to Williams, and she's just got to get it out of harm's way. NJIT trying to push for that equalizing goal. 5-1-4 at home this season, as Caputo does return alongside Sofia Garofalo. Garofalo for McClelland, and for Caputo, she comes in for Reifschneider. The only loss was to Maine, 2-0 on October 8th. And obviously is a Maine side that's also dangerous come this time of year. Ended an NJIT season in the quarterfinals in the conference tournament last season. And we've got a whistle as NJIT's Jones tried to get through the Binghamton defense there, and evidently something about that was not up to the standard.
Yeah, this is Emma Colling. Colling basically gets hung up, and essentially it's the freedom of movement. Basically, Jones was trying to get through, and Colling was trying to cancel her out and hold her up.
Jones right toward the middle, and Williams had that ball come right to her with all the activity swarming around. Once again, had to be sure-handed.
Yeah, just too far. You know, you've got to put it into an area where you force the defense to win a head ball, or you give your players a chance, and or not enough air underneath it from Riley Jones, where then you give your offensive players a chance to get under it and get Williams just a little nervous, where Williams, instead of catching comfortably, has to punch, and that's where chaos ensues. And let's see if they can execute that here, because this is too far away to shoot and score on from distance, but you got to get some air under it.
We'll see if they make Williams move laterally this time, and she punches this time, following up Bailey Chant. Keeper's out of the net, but again, the keeper is feeling really good about how she's played recently. You mentioned the calmness of Binghamton, and that was another calmness instance for Williams.
Yeah, pretty good ball from Taylor Pape. In terms of where it is, ideally you'd like to get just a little bit more hang time from it, because then Williams is trapped by her own defenders or attacking players in front of her.
Olivia McKnight looking for some space across the field.
Yeah, nice ball there.
Vagoda once again, looking for McKnight this time. It trickles through. Luke able to corral it for Binghamton and keep it in bounds. Wide open is Marsteller. Doesn't join the rush often, but now across. And a clearance there for Hoysa, but it had some English on it. NJIT follows up, only can get it as far as Vagoda. Been a pretty great second half. Both teams kind of trading punches and chances. Vagoda goes down, and a foul called on NJIT, which the home faithful do not like here in Newark.
Yeah, I think this is the incorrect call. I think if anything, the ball is just, I think that is a no call. I don't think that is a foul on Ramos. Vagoda was trying to pin the ball against Ramos to prevent Ramos from sprinting forward.
Well, here's Vagoda again. A rainbow toward the far post. And just like Williams on the other end, Constantine staying strong on this end.
Well, doesn't it feel like Neil Bhattacharjee, the head coach of Binghamton, must have made a conservative effort to tell his team, look, we've got a talented left back. Let's work her into the game more, because Vagoda probably has, what, 10 crosses already?
Something like that.
In this second half. You know, that's something that's charted at the highest levels of pro soccer, and of course, charted by coaches here at this level. But you could see the skill that she possesses, where she's putting the ball consistently in dangerous areas where you have to account for it off ball.
Marsteller able to settle it for the Bearcats. Now Luke back to Marsteller. Toward the center for Knitsch. Here comes Reed with the burst of speed. Bangs into Hoyza. And that was played off of Reed. Nicely done by the freshman from Germany. Well, the way Reed goes after a ball at that forward spot kind of reminds you of Brianna Andreoli for NJIT a little bit.
Yeah, not as fast, but I love the way Kinich also sprung Reed with that nice head ball, using her as kind of the interchanging target player. So you could tell on paper, Binghamton bringing back 10 starters, 23 letter winners. Yes, they did graduate a major star in Maya Anand, and also playing without the services of Peyton Gilmore. So that's another major piece. But they look like they've played together for a long time. It shows itself on the field.
That service goes over everyone's head through the penalty area and out. NJIT will look to restart here about halfway through the second stanza. The one McClellan goal in the 19th minute in the first half still holding up as the game winner for Binghamton. Of course, in this matchup, it ain't over till it's over. Game winners by the Bearcats in the final minute of the match. In both of the last two seasons, one of those in double overtime here in Newark 2 years ago, and then last year in the 90th minute, able to steal a victory on their home field. It was Gilmore, who we just talked about, who scored both of those goals, inactive tonight. She's been hurt much of the year for the Bearcats. Only played in 4 matches this season. But a junior who was first team All-America East last year, and so you figure even going forward, she'll be a big part of Binghamton's attack, given that she's, of course, healthy. And now here we have a corner kick again coming up for the Bearcats.
Yeah, and what Gilmore would provide would be something that I think the rest of the Binghamton roster doesn't have, which is a burner outside in a 4-3-3 as a winger that would further stretch the field for Binghamton. But injuries, of course, part of this sport in a big way.
Here's Vagoda again. That one able to bounce on the turf and then trying to twist with a shot. That's a Bearcat. That's Vittoria in the middle of the penalty area. NJIT able to be in the way enough. And that will allow the Highlanders to live to fight another day, so to speak. Whenever those corners bounce, you always hold your breath because it could bounce any number of ways. Nice dispossession there by Taylor Pape for NJIT. Highlanders look to start back the other way. Nice chip ahead by Caputo. A little bit of a self-pass there, and then she comes together with Garofalo, and at the very least, NJIT will hold possession. Toward the middle, Caputo had it knocked away from her. Luke against Schmuck, and now Ramos, Ramos coming back to help. Binghamton able to win it back. NJIT again looking for that moment of brilliance to try and equalize. Right now, again, if the scores hold, the Highlanders would be the 5 seed next week in the America East quarterfinals, taking on the 4 seed, who I believe would be UMass Lowell at the moment. It's currently UMass Lowell, that we do know. In the standings, 1 point behind New Hampshire. New Hampshire and Maine postponing their match tonight after the horrific mass shooting in Maine yesterday. Again, the latest we've heard on the America East in terms of being able to play that match later is that it's entirely up to the schools. And obviously that will have some bearing on the final standings in the America East. It's going to be yet another corner here for Binghamton as they try to double their lead. Meanwhile, doubling their lead, speaking of the America East out-of-town scoreboard, Vermont now has a 2-goal lead in the second half over UAlbany. And it looks, based on the scores right now, that they're going to jump up and make the playoffs and be that 6th seed. A lot more action to come, though. And that one headed toward goal. That might have been off the shoulder of a Bearcat on the far post. Either way, it was obviously well high. And now both teams will sub.
Yeah, that was Paige Luke. And here comes Maria Noguera, who most of this year for NJIT has been able to change games, but I think Brianna Andrioli here subs out pretty frustrated. She got early service. Remember, 3 minutes into the second half, 48th minute, right, we called it. She was able to motor ahead and get herself going. And then after that, zilch. She was not able to get the ball in any kind of space or areas, even further closer to midfield, where she could try to turn corners on teams. So give immense credit to Binghamton for the way they've played tonight. Even when NJIT has had the ball, they have blanketed Brianna Andrioli, particularly a couple times Grace Victoria with a couple of hard steps from her center back experience, where they're preventing Andrioli from having a sniff at the ball to be able to touch, turn, and scoot off of you and race ahead. They have not allowed that, and they have handled Andrioli as well as anybody has had on NJIT's schedule this year.
McClelland checked back in for Binghamton at that same stoppage, with Noguera replacing the aforementioned Andrioli. Just 18 minutes remain, 17 and a half in this match. Reed is guilty of the foul there. Good defense by Pape to hold her ground.
Yeah, I was wondering, at what point would NJIT, instead of going with the long direct kick, play it short? Well, instead they do one pass and then they play it long, but at one point do they attempt to build from the back and see if one of their midfielders can connect like the third pass ahead? None of that has happened.
Well, Jones and Olivia McKnight, two physical players, come together there, and in the scrum, Jones is guilty of the foul, according to Mike DeFelice. We sound like a broken record. It's Lexi Bogota again on the restart. A powerful left foot toward the 6, and Constantine read it well.
And with good reason. You know, she's able to put the ball in a spot that causes havoc, and if you do that 15 times, on corners or services, one is likely to do damage.
That was from almost the midfield line. So a boot of about 45 yards, I would think, all the way toward the edge of the 6. Just a mighty left foot for Lexi Bogota. We talked about it earlier tonight. Essentially anywhere in the half of the field, she can get that ball into a position where she can perhaps get her team a chance to score, as we've got another foul on NJIT.
And just like right here, Jason, and it makes you as an opposition, I think it makes you think about it, because look, as we see the touch foul there, not a whole lot there from Hoyza, but as a result, you have to survive these, because the player kicking the restarts can do damage with it. And you have to play an extra disciplined game to do so. Well, now it's going to be Garofalo to do it, so she showed a good distance earlier, too.
Toward the center, that is Tybal all the way up in the air, getting her head on that one. Now Reed trying to twist another one toward goal, and that one's off of Pape. And this will be a Binghamton corner. This will be their 6th corner kick of this match, all of which have come in the second half, as Clark also comes back in. Clark for Knitsch.
And to finish the point, I think if you're playing the Bearcats, this has to come into your mind in terms of allowing corner kicks, because they have a player that's a little bit better than most of the country at servicing.
An in-swinging ball, that one headed toward the near post off the top of it. Looked like maybe Olivia McKnight's head. And luckily for NJIT, the bounce went their way, although this is going to be yet another corner kick, as it looks.
If there was an all-star game skills competition, I would love to see Lexi Bogota into that contest. And you know how in the NBA all-star game they'll do those different things.
Maybe put some targets in the inside of the goal box and see if she can hit them.
Or basically putting the ball, who can put the ball inside the 6 most often, for example, on corners. I'm sure she would probably win a bunch of those.
My mistake, this is the 7th Binghamton corner of the night. Binghamton screaming for a handball there just outside the area. And it is going to be called on Ramos, so Now much closer to the goal, another set piece for the Bearcats, and this one might be the most dangerous of the night.
Yeah, the problem is because Olivia McKnight, number 3 in black, has had a big-time propensity in her career of scoring from outside the box. And let's see, it won't be Clark in this case, rather it won't be McKnight, it's actually going to be Clark a little bit further out to take it.
She's got 4 goals this season. And a shot right into the arms of Constantine. So trying to use the players in front kind of as a distraction. 13 minutes remain, NJIT. Again, looking for that equalizer. Late drama has characterized this series over the last 3 years. This one toward the net and onto the top of the net off of Noguera. And now Reifschneider will return for NJIT as well. And Caputo will exit.
And I would say for Allie Nick, she might be 30 seconds away from getting Brianna Andreoli back in. This might be, she might have her scheduled to come back at the 8-minute mark. This might be the night she has to bring her in at the 10-minute mark because of how little and few chances NJIT has gotten. You know that you may have to go on the road anyway. I think it might be worth it for the extra couple of minutes of Andreoli to try to salvage a tie, and maybe some things help you out, and you end up getting the 4 seed after all with some help. So it could be the worthy gamble from a Highlanders perspective.
Well, it's about the same amount of time left in the match between Bryant and UMass Lowell, and those two teams are still scoreless up in Smithfield, Rhode Island, home of the Bryant Bulldogs. Meanwhile, Vermont has also added a 3rd goal, so it's essentially sewn up that they're going to, at the very least, make Bryant win that match in order to make the America East Women's Soccer Tournament beginning next week, because if the scores hold, it will be Vermont and not Bryant that is in as that 6th seed, the last spot to qualify for the tournament. Reed chasing Pape down into the sideline, and it's off of Pape and out.
And I tell you, I mean, Vermont looks like a different team the last 2 weeks.
Here's Reed turning the corner, and Vitar coming over from the center back position. This is yet another Binghamton corner. Well, if they don't get a 2nd goal, it certainly won't be for lack of opportunities. 8 corner kicks now in the 2nd half alone, and here comes Andreoli, just as you said.
Yeah, the NJIT has had this card in their back pocket to turn to, and they need to figure out a way how to win a ball in the air and then get a counter going with Andreoli up the field right now at midfield.
Well, she comes in for Deschmuck, which means that all of the Highlander most talented forwards are all in at the same time, so Allie Nick's going all in. Off a couple of heads, comes back to Herbert, tries to get the shot away, and Bailey Chance able to snuff that one out point blank. They try to spring Andreoli toward the near side, and Marsteller does a nice job to wall her off there. Now Clark looking to split a couple defenders. Bitar, the last woman back, and she clears.
Heck of a job by Alex Marsteller, because if she allows Andreoli to touch the ball there, Andreoli is so good at chipping the ball to herself, quick turning, and then beating you in the foot race in the open field. This game particularly has been shown the credit that the Binghamton coaching staff deserves from communicating to their players what they see as ex-players.
Here comes Olivia McKnight with a right foot shot. It's in. Another service from the right for Victoria. This one deflects toward the feet of McKnight, and it's a 2nd goal for Binghamton. A great cutback as well. Olivia McKnight, the reigning America East midfielder of the year, with her 4th goal of the season, and that one might put it on ice.
A 5-year starter every game of her career, and someone that Neil Bhattacharjee talks about how she finishes, she looks to shoot and finish, brings so many intangibles, takes on the captain's role, and is someone that is so fiercely competitive, someone that when you're losing, you want on the field. When you're winning, you want her on the field. That is what Olivia McKnight has meant over her 5-year career at Binghamton.
She has been America East All-Conference in some way or another in every single season she has spent in a Bearcats uniform, as once again, all she needed was to just chip that one wide enough to the right of Constantine to add the second goal. She was all-rookie her freshman season, first-team All-Conference as a sophomore, second-team All-Conference as a junior, and the America East Midfielder of the Year last season as her senior season. This is her 5th season on campus. She figures to be All-Conference again, especially now with her 4th goal in the bag. And for Binghamton, they are 8.5 minutes away from a 2nd consecutive regular season crown.
And Olivia McKnight's numbers are not as high as they were last year because they haven't scored as many goals. But she is a game changer at this level in terms of being a ball winner and attacking forward. And look at all the minutes that she has played too. She's not a midfielder that's a 60-minute type center mid. There are some in the country that are like that. But even if she is not scoring, she's super effective in kind of the way she leads this Bearcats team in terms of edge.
Well, now for NJIT, all eyes are on Smithfield, Rhode Island. 9 minutes remaining in regulation in that match. It is still 0-0 between UMass Lowell and Bryant. Before we end up signing off the air here on ESPN Plus in Newark, we might know the result of that game, and we could therefore give you the Highlanders' final fate in the standings. We, of course, won't be able to give you exactly who they'll be facing. But that's how things have gone here in the America East this season. A lot of things standings-wise coming down to the final day. And for Binghamton, they look certainly primed to make a run toward that America East crown that eluded them last season when they lost in the championship on penalty kicks.
And Jason, you bring up a great point that this is a team that I think the coaching staff has gotten their attention. That Neil Bhattacharjee has somehow been able to find maybe the best version of his team tonight. They have played a pretty complete game in a lot of facets. They may not have pumped in a ton of goals, but they executed a game plan from possession, defending Andrioli and Ramos, and then peppering NJIT with tons of crosses into the box. And they played as if they were the team losing 1-0 rather than sitting back. They showed you urgency and how they want to get the 1 seed because it means something to host that America East final on their home field.
3 substitutions have checked in for NJIT. Brianna Ramirez, number 23, is one of them, as Allie Nick kind of goes deeper into her bench. Sydney Watson also in for Hoysa, and this is O'Fallon who's come in for Pape. A lot of the NJIT regulars, with the score now 2-0 and 6 minutes remaining, they are taken out, and they'll be ready to rest up for the quarterfinal match on the road. Now here is Clark looking to add a third, and she can't because it was deflected by Bitar. Or maybe it wasn't, actually. The referee waving the flag toward the goal box. Michaela Balio also taking Ramos out. So for NJIT, they will have to go on the road for the 2nd straight year in the America East. We'll see if they are able to reverse the result from last year when they went up to Maine after a big late push for the for that I believe it was the 6th seed. Yes, they were the 6th seed last year, getting in late in the conference season, and they ended up falling 4-1 to Maine up in Orono. Of course, we again don't know who the Highlanders will play. That will be determined by if the Maine-New Hampshire match gets played, and obviously the final result between UMass Lowell and Bryant, which is still currently scoreless.
Yeah, and I think for Allie Nick, her starters saw what the top of the America East looks like and has looked like, and she's going to have a lot to take from this game from the perspective of you need to value possession when you get it against the higher caliber competition. We need to play with remarkable grit because we've been a little accustomed to getting a lot of scoring chances recently, But then this is like playoff soccer now. You might only get, or what do the Highlanders get? Maybe 3 scoring chances. There are games like this in November where each team gets 3 scoring chances, and you better be the team that buries the one. Otherwise, you're done and you're going home.
Again, for the Bearcats, they will end the regular season without a conference loss, going unbeaten in a league as tough as the America East is. That is already a big feather in the cap for Neil Bhattacharjee and his Bearcats. The Bearcats will finish 5-0-3 in conference play. The closest of those matches without a loss, there are 2-2 draws at home against Maine and UAlbany, which were kind of different stories. Their last match against Maine, they were down 2-0 and came back to equalize. The match against the Great Danes way back in September, they were up 2-0, and then it was UAlbany who came back and stunned them with the tie. As Lauren Clark will check out, and Neil Bhattacharjee will dip a little bit deeper into his bench as well, with just a few minutes remaining in this one. But as Ralph mentioned, the regular season crown will carry home field advantage with it. If there is an America East title match for the Bearcats for the 3rd time in the last 4 years, it will be on their home turf. It was on their home turf last season, and it was New Hampshire who broke their hearts in penalties. This entire team, as we said, largely intact aside from the striker of the year, Maya Anand, last year, scored 12 goals. Everyone else pretty much returning for the Binghamton women's soccer program, and so they bring that championship pedigree into the postseason as regular season champions for the 2nd year in a row. McClellan has scored 1 of the goals, and Jones hauls her down, and the foul called there on the NJIT center midfielder. Physical to the end, as is always the case in this conference. A tough loss for NJIT it will be tonight, but tomorrow, Lubetkin Field at Mal Simon Stadium will host yet another big match, as we have a stoppage now with McClelland a little shaken up. Join us back here on ESPN Plus tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Eastern as the NJIT men's soccer program looks to snap a 3-game slide. And they take on the first place team on the men's side in the America East, the UMBC Retrievers, coming off of a upset victory against nationally ranked Vermont on the road in Burlington. And they feature Taylor Calhera, one of the top scorers in the region for UMBC, with 10 goals already this year. Again, 7 o'clock right back on ESPN Plus. Drew Casey and I will be on the call for that one, so join us then. For NJIT women's soccer, this is the end of their regular season. A tough one to take here at home, but again, this Binghamton squad looks so impressive all night long. Got the first goal, then continued to apply pressure, didn't sit on the lead. They went for a second. They eventually got a second from Olivia McKnight in the 81st minute. And it was an unassisted goal as well for Binghamton. Headed into space toward Madison O'Sullivan. And she's guilty of the foul with inside 90 seconds to play. We'll get Allie Nick's thoughts in just a moment as well on the match. Jones with a launch into the wall of Bearcats. O'Fallon toward goal. Williams again jumps on it. Caitlin Williams with 5 saves in this match. That might be her 6th, actually. We mentioned the first half didn't contain a lot of shots. The second half has. Shots are 12-10 Binghamton now. And 6 official shots on goal for NJIT, so therefore 6 saves for Williams. And it looks like she'll have her 5th shutout of the season tonight here in Newark. Offsides there for the Bearcats. Seconds tick down, and for the Binghamton Bearcats, for the second year in a row, they are officially America East regular season women's soccer champions. A 2-0 shutout victory over NJIT.